Hey there, Algebra 1. We are going to check off graphing. We done did that. You know what I'm saying? But, one thing we found out is graphing works out okay when they cross over on those super nice points, right? If I can tell this is exactly, 3, 1 or whatever it is, that's great. But sometimes the answers aren't super nice integer numbers, right? No decimals, no fractions. So the thing we're going to focus on today is substitution and how substitution works and how we can start to do these algebraically. So I know it might be a sad day that you don't get to graph the lines, but keep in mind that we're trying to give you another options, right? Think of it as building a toolbox of all the things that you know, and we're trying to add on here. All right, so what does it mean? What is substitute? Well, sometimes, especially this year, right, you have a substitute teacher. That's probably one of the best examples we can give. All right, it means to change something out, to replace it. Right, so you might have a substitute teacher. You might substitute, right? You go out, you're gonna get maybe you're gonna get a hamburger and some fries or something, some other meal at like McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King or whatever it is. Like, you know what? I don't want fries today. Let me get a salad, or let me get apple slices, or whatever it is. Okay, so you might substitute some part of that. In sports, we have a lot of those, right? So even though there are only 5 people playing the basketball court at a time, right, there's more people on the team because you have some substitutes to get a break and to do those things. How does that apply to math, though? Okay, so here's the bottom line, and you guys know this, and I'm not going to boast about myself or anything else like that, but like if we have a substitute in for me, it's not the same. Whether that's better or worse, whatever it is. So here's the deal. In math, right, it must be equal, must be 100% clearly equal so that we have that. Okay. Normally I joke with my students and I say, look, like if I was playing basketball and like they subbed in LeBron James, it's basically the same thing. That's a complete lie. He's so much better than me. Like I used to be okay, but I'm not LeBron James, clearly. All right, so here we go. So you get the idea. In math, they must be equal. So here's what we're looking at. Steps are going to be pretty simple, I think, and very, very general. So I'm looking for an equation that already has a variable solved for it. X equals 4y. Great. So I already know that x is 4y. So I'm going to find out where x is. It's right here, and I'm going to put this 4y right there, okay, because I have one equation that's already solved for one of the variables. So that's done. Then I'm going to substitute. That's the key here. So I'm going to replace x with 4y because it says right here, x is 4y minus another y equals 75. All right, so here's what we got. 4 times 4, that's 16y minus y equals 75y. Remember, that's 1y right here. So that's 15y equals 75. All right, little known fact, you can divide this by 15, and y is going to come out to be 5. Right, 5 times 15 will give you 75. Don't believe me? Try it out. All right, the other thing we're going to do, because we kept getting an ordered pair, right? It was something 5. Well, now I need to know what that something is. So what are we going to do? This whole day is called substitute. So pretty good guess. Every time I say, what are we going to do next? You just say substitute. And you're like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to substitute a y value of 5 right here. So that means x equals 4 times that 5. So it turns out x is 20. X is 20. All right, now that means they're going to cross over. Really don't want to graph this one, right? Because where's 20? 20 is like way over there, and then I still have to go up 5. So that's going to be kind of weird. So you don't want to graph that. It's going to be a very large graph. Obviously, we also see we have a y-intercept at negative 75. So we have to deal with that in a couple different ways. So thank you for a different way. Substitution be a little bit different. All right, example 2. So this time I made y is already by itself. Tell me why. All right, it's my boy band impersonation. Like it? Okay, here we go. Now y is 3x. So what I like to use a lot of parentheses. So y, I'm going to replace this y with what it's equal to. X plus 2 times, instead of y, 3x equals negative 21. Here we go. X plus 6x equals negative 21. So that's 1. So it's 7x equals negative 21. I really like to use this blue, but then I don't like the way it looks. It looks really pale. So divide by 7. X equals negative 3. We're like, yes, I'm not done. Right? All right. So remember, we do have to go and get the other value. So what we're going to do? Substitute. Okay. I know that x is negative 3. So let's take this guy right here, drop it in. So we're going to do y equals 3 times negative 3. So y turns out to be negative 9. All right, I'm good with the way I have this answer written here. So sometimes you're going to see choices, multiple choice, stuff like that, where it's still written as an ordered pair. It's kind of nice that you know both because it is still the point that these two lines cross. So that kind of makes sense, but not required. All right, we did get one solution. So quick review. What is it called? Consistent, independent. Remember that? Remember that? Okay. All right. Now here's the deal: is our steps going to be very generic. Number one, solve one equation for one variable. Okay, and what that means is it's not always going to be done for us like this. Here it was y equals. Up top it was x equals. So we got to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. So my hope right now is that you're like, yes, I can totally just either divide by 8 or I can divide by 4. So here's the deal. You're being given some choices, and those choices, as your parents will tell you, have consequences. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So do you want to divide by 8? Don't write this. So you have y equals 1/2 x. Like, dude, I don't want to work with a fraction. I have a choice in this matter. So divide by 4. So x equals 2y. Ooh, that is so much nicer. I like what you did there. So step number 2, after we did that, is to substitute. So I need to take x is 2y. So where am I going to put this? X right here is going to be replaced with 2y. So I'm going to put 2y in for that x. Here we go. 7 2y plus 2y equals negative 8. All right, so this is 14y plus another 2y equals negative 8. So it's 16y equals negative 8. And we're going to divide by 16. Whoop, there it goes. Y equals, remember, I don't have a choice here. This is 1/2, and it's negative. There we go. So y is negative 1/2. What are we going to do with it? Oh, I'm sorry. Step number 3 was to solve for either x or y, right? Because this could have gone either way. Step number 4, every other step is substitute. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right there. And so step 5, after we substitute, is going to be solve for the other variable. All right, so I need x equals 2 times negative 1/2. What's half of 2 is 1, and negative of that, x equals negative 1. So the ordered pair would be negative 1 with negative 1/2. And again, that's why it's nice to have a different way to do this, because I don't know if it's exactly going to look like hitting negative 1/2. Like you've seen my graphs before from my other videos, right? Sometimes they're kind of wavy. It might look like 1/3 or 1/4 or maybe 2/3. Okay, so this gives us an exact answer without having to do that graphing stuff. All right, so steps. We're going to get one of the variables all by itself. So we chose to do x right here. We're going to substitute that in. We're going to solve it out until I get something. And then we're going to substitute that back in. And then we're going to solve for our final answer. Okay, so they're very, very generic. But that's because I want you to have the freedom of choice. And now the idea is we got to teach you how to make those good choices. Okay. And really, I need you to make good choices here. Okay. Y is already by itself. Okay. Step number 1 done for you. What is y? Y can be replaced with is the same as, is equal to. So 6x minus 2 times 3x plus 2 equals negative 4. All right. Now, you guys know I care for you a whole bunch. So you got to know that I'm going to highlight this negative with the 2 because this trips up some of my students from time to time. So I want to make sure I point out we're going to distribute negative 2. So here it is, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 with the x. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. It equals negative 4. All right, I got like terms over here. So 6x minus 6x. Well, they cancel out. So negative 4 equals negative 4. Hold on, wait a minute. Somebody did something different to this problem. All right, so all the variables went away. What I have left, wait, is that true or false? Is negative 4 equal to negative 4? That's true. Oh, so if it's true, that means I could put anything in here. So that means I get all real numbers. Okay, you guys know I like to use the sign all real numbers. All right, so what's that mean? What's that mean? That means if I went to graph these, they would be the same thing, right? 2, 1, 2, 3, right? That means I'd have this line and I'd have this line right on top of it because that's how I get all real numbers. So I want you to make that connection of what's going on here so we see what's happening. Now, of course, if this turned out to be like +4 and a -4, right, then it would be false and there'd be no solution at all. And that would mean our parallel lines. So I'm trying to put those things together. So all real numbers, so that's consistent and that's dependent, just to review that vocabulary, because that's going to hang around as we work through the chapter. All right, I put a star next to this one, not because it's a word problem. It's about newspapers. I'm like, really? You guys don't even know what a newspaper is anymore. And back when I was a kid, my dad used to have a stack of newspapers. Like, you could hide behind it when we were playing hide and seek. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what he was doing with them. He just kept them. Maybe it's because he was waiting for a time where we could recycle them. I don't know. He just huge. All right. Anyway, but we don't have too many newspapers anymore because it's all going online. So that's what we have: newspapers versus online. So notice our newspapers without even reading the problem. Here's what you know, right? Definitely the slope is decreasing, and to read your news online is increasing big time. Not even close. But that's none of this is even the point. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. All right. These both say y equals. Please do not let this confuse you. That means that we could start off by saying, well, doesn't y equal y? And you're like, yeah, this is easy. I don't know why you made it so difficult. That means 14.4x plus 2 is equal to negative 2.8x plus 170. Right, if y equals y, then the thing that they're equal to must also be equal. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to add 2.8x and add 2.8x. While I'm doing that, I'm going to subtract the 2. All right, so we got 14.4 plus 2.8. It's what, 17 point something? 17.2? All right, I'm going to have to divide here. So I'm getting my calculator handy. If you don't have yours yet, get to it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we got 17.2x equals 168 divided by 17.2. All right, so 168 divided by 17.2. All right, 9.77. That's going to give me x. What did x stand for? X represents the number of years. I should add this part on since 1993. You guys remember 1993? Of course you don't. It's forever ago. It's back when my dad had a stack of newspapers you could hide behind. All right. And following system represents system. Okay, so we want to know when it's going to be the same, basically, and that's going to be more than 9.5, almost 10 years until they would be equal, right? The number of newspapers going out and the number of people reading the news online, that would have been about 10 years. So that would have been 2003. So at this point, online has clearly taken it over. And that means for your entire life, you're like, what's this newspaper thing you're talking about? What's next? We're going to talk about records? No, not going to. All right, this problem was really about when they're going to be the same, so I don't need to go back and find out how many. So I'm going to move on to the next problem. And you're like, thank goodness, because you're taking forever. I get it. Our focus now is, I give you this problem, what's the easiest variable to get by itself? And hopefully you're saying either x or y. I'll take either one. You guys are pretty used to getting y by itself, so I'm going to do that by subtracting x. So y equals negative x minus 12. Okay, that's pretty important. I'm going to box it up because I write all over the place, so I don't want to lose track of it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in where y is, because that's what y is equal to. So 2x minus 3, negative x minus 12, and it equals 6. I'm going to grab my highlighter one more time because I care about you guys, and I'll make sure you distribute negative 3. So here it's going to go 2x plus 3x. What do we got? Plus 36 equals 6. I can do this. 5x plus 36 equals 6. So let's get rid of the 36. There it goes. And there it goes. All right, let's get rid of the 5. It's being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 5. So x turns out to be -6. All right, and then, dun, 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 we're going to take this and drop it right here like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Not really. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. -6 minus 12. All right, notice what I did here is I used a bunch of parentheses, and that's going to help things out as well. Because -6 is +6, so 6 minus 12 is -6. So my ordered pair, -6, -6. And that is consistent, independent, because it can stand alone. All right, so that one wasn't too bad. We could have gone with X or Y. And the next one, so I just want you to kind of get the idea. What's the easiest thing to get alone? 1x, 5y, 3x, or -2y? And hopefully it's pretty apparent, the one that I put in there. So in this one, we're going to solve for x. Let's get rid of that 5y. So minus 5y. These are unlike terms over here. So x is equal to -3 minus 5y. That's important. And I'm going to use parentheses to show where it's going to go. Right, x is all this stuff. I know I'm doing something right because my equation right now, as I write it here, is in terms of all y's. So I know I'm doing something good. Okay, let's distribute, see what happens here. -9 minus 15y minus 2y equals 8. All right, let's add 9. Let's get rid of that while we combine these terms. So we get -17y equals, look at that, 17. So we're going to divide by -17, and y turns out to be -1. Where are we going to put it? Where are we going to put that -1 right there? Right there. Okay. X equals -3 minus 5 times -1. Well, that's a double negative right there. -3 plus 5. So x turns out to be 2. So 2 with -1 will be the point where these two lines cross over. So that part is definitely something we can do. All right, let's see here. Down here, which variable is the easiest one to get by itself? 4, 3, 2. I'm looking for a 1. It has a negative, but I think I can still deal with that, right? That's still easier than trying to divide 7 by 2 or 4 by 3. So I'm still going to stick to this y. That's going to be the easiest thing to get alone. So let's subtract 2x. This is what I would normally see my students do. And let's divide out the -1. So y equals 2x minus 7. That's pretty important. Not an answer, but I'm going to box it up because I put boxes around things that are important. My poor kids, right? They're always in boxes. I'm just kidding. I would never put my kids in a box unless it was like something fun to do, like to play a game like hide and seek, because I don't keep a lot of newspapers around. You know what I'm saying? All right, so where's this going to go? Parentheses. Right here. Y is that. All right, so here we go. 4x plus 3 times, what is that? 2x minus 7 equals 4. Let's distribute. Notice I didn't use my highlighter this time to point things out, even though I still care about you, because it wasn't a negative, so it really doesn't make a difference here. So 4x plus, that's going to be 6x minus, you got it, 21 equals 4. Distributive property, I love it. So 10x. Put these guys together. While I'm doing that, I'm going to move this stuff over. Look, I'm trying to add 21. Do you see what it did there? I just made it 25 right away. Divide by 10. You're like, oh my gosh, I need a calculator or something. No, think about science class. Move the decimal over. It's 2.5. All right, what am I going to do with that? You know it. This whole lesson's been about it. Whole thing. 2.5. 2 times 2.5 minus 7. Don't grab the calculator. It's $2.50. Double it. You got $5. -2. So y is -2. Okay, so if you need to see it as an ordered pair, 2.5 and -2. All right, so that is substitution, my friends, and that's how it works. All right, we're going to get into some of these if you're in my class, and I also gave you some answers. So if you want to try those ahead of time, that's fine. If you're having questions, I get it. It's new, right? Nobody expects you to do it all by yourself. That's why we work together. All right.